it's been a year since I put some of my teeth in various solutions and tested to see whether or not they would dissolve. Out of all the trials I did, I kept two of the solutions going. One was Coca-Cola and the other was vinegar or acetic acid. So after this year-long experiment, what can we conclude about which solution was worse for our teeth? Without further ado, let's find out. These lovely images here are the results from October 2019, so over a year ago now, of what the teeth looked like after sitting in the solution of vinegar versus Coca-Cola for a mere month's time. We could already tell that there was a lot of discoloring when it came to the Coca-Cola sample, and we could see that the enamel on the vinegar sample was starting to kind of deteriorate or flake off in the solution. But what does it look like after a year of sitting in these solutions? Ta-da! Here's the results you've been waiting for. 1 year later, October 2020, the results of the Coca-Cola tooth and the vinegar tooth. The top two images over there are in the vinegar. You can see that there's a substantial amount of the tooth that is literally flaked off entirely. So as you can see in this image, the enamel is literally rubbing off the top of the tooth. After I held it in my hands and just kind of barely gently rubbed it, all of the enamel came off. So there was literally no more enamel left on that tooth after a year of sitting in vinegar. Whereas the Coca-Cola tooth, you can see, looks almost black. It's like the nastiest yellow, black, brown color you can imagine. It's even worse in person. It looks disgusting. But as far as flaking off of the enamel, I didn't witness any. So the tooth itself was still intact. It was just really grossly discolored, whereas the vinegar tooth was literally dissolved. So what's the importance of this? Well, if you happen to care about your teeth at all, the only set you get, because we're not sharks and we can't just keep renewing our teeth through our lifetime, it's kind of important to protect your enamel. And if you're eating a lot of vinegary foods or salads with a lot of vinegar on them, and you don't brush your teeth regularly, you could be doing some substantial damage to your teeth. Yikes! Literally dissolving your enamel via a chemical reaction. I mean, I'm assuming that you're not letting your teeth sit in vinegar for a year's time to let all the enamel literally dissolve, but you certainly don't want to be left with only dentin for teeth. Brush your teeth! So in the spirit of types of chemical reactions, which we've just been recently talking about in this series, let's look at what a potential chemical reaction might be for what occurred with this tooth. We have calcium phosphate, that's what enamel is made out of, plus CH3COOH, that's acetic acid, that's vinegar. I've color-coded this reaction for you so you can kind of pick out the pieces and see how they moved around. Hopefully you see from the reactant side that the calcium is originally paired with the phosphate and then kind of switches partners and decides to pair with the CHCO, the CH3COO. That's a polyatomic ion. So now we have calcium acetate in the products instead of calcium phosphate. And the other reactant, our CH3COOH, looks like that H paired up with the PO4, the phosphate polyatomic ion, to give us phosphoric acid, H3PO4. But what we see then is that both reactants ended up swapping a part of themselves and replacing a bond with the other partner present. So this is kind of like that scenario where you had a double date, and by the end of the date, they swapped partners and went home with the other person's date. Scandalous. So this is one of the possible chemical reactions that's occurring between tooth enamel and vinegar, acetic acid. So clearly the reaction that took place here could be a double replacement reaction with the acetic acid and my tooth. For now, that's all, ducklings. Give me a quacks up and subscribe for more educational content. See you later.
No ducks, no glory.